Я надеюсь, меня хорошо слышно и видно. Большое спасибо за приглашение.
Greetings, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Just to clarify, I am not a CEO of our center. I'm just a member, but I do have a YouTube channel. That is true. And we do have an information agency. We run an information agency, News of Georgia, and we have a website as well. So I will try to be as brief as possible, although this is not my strongest suit. My field of specialization is the conflict itself, the invasion itself. I mean, after the breakup of the USSR, the only player in the South Caucasus was Russia. They had the military base, they had the troops, and they moderated practically all conflicts. And so for the first time, the balance was broken in the 90s. I'm talking transnational corporations and oil deposits and the Baku-Tbilisi oil pipeline. So this was what broke the monopoly and created yet another factor. I mean, besides the collective West and the BP Corporation, for example, there is the Turkish factor as well, but Turkey was not an independent player in the South Caucasus up to, I guess, the end of 2000s. I mean, the Turkey did not pursue the policy, I mean, as an isolated one. So together with Azerbaijan, they were on the ground, which was the precondition for the 44 days operation, or usually it is referred to as the war. And then it never ended. There was a ceasefire. So what we are dealing with here is a situation when Azerbaijan decided to go ahead and claim back their territories. And you know that Armenia was not ready to concede. I mean, we've been living like this for 30 years. We could go on another 30 years, which led to the 44 days war. And let me tell you that there are different theories about the involvement of Russia in this 44 days war, but I would like to draw your attention to the one very important fact.
From
the beginning of the war, in the general staff of Azerbaijan, almost all Russian generals have been removed and Turkish generals took their place. And it tells us that Russia started taking part in this war. And also there was the attempt of the United States, Trump's attempt to change something. It was fruitless and it couldn't bring to any result because it was before the elections and you cannot do it just in one meeting. But when Moscow understood that it is losing Karabakh as a tool to push Armenia and Azerbaijan, there was some active hostilities like bombing of Baku, and some other pushed Azerbaijan to sign so-called Night Declaration, the declaration about Russian peacemakers in Karabakh. And by calling them Russian peacemakers, I mean they are in quotes, as there cannot be Russians and peacemakers in the same sentences. So what did they do? First of all, they opened the perk of patriotic Russian glory. After that, they made a monument of Russian soldier hugging a girl. And after that, they had monuments installed to Pushkin, Solzhenitsyn, and some other Russian artists. And as Putin said, that was a part of Russia. Starting from 2021, Russia starts getting ready systematically to a large-scale war invasion to Ukraine. And this preparation was not only in the events in Kazakhstan, but also that Russia made a treaty with Azerbaijan that was never ratified, and it is clear why. And after that, there was 24th of February, and this day when it became clear that Putin made that crazy step, Baku, Yerevan, and probably Tbilisi as well started waiting, and there was a kind of silence till August, September last year. Why till August, September? Because after that we have activization of Azerbaijan, and it is directly connected to the success of Ukrainian armed forces after liberation of Kharkiv. We could see those hostilities in Karabakh and some other areas, and here you can see direct link between events in Ukrainian and Southern Caucasus. Also, behavior of Americans is a kind of interesting sinusoid. Before September, we haven't seen a particular interest to this conflict, but in September, when it was clear that another large-scale war can be started, and let's not forget about elections in USA that time, Congress elections, I mean. Activization was connected to that, and probably I will second to my friend Volodymyr Kopchak, because if we look at the assistant of on defense issue of the American presidents, and that was her who put the fundamental to the American policy. And I completely agree with Volodymyr that, notwithstanding the Brussels format, and Europeans started even before, but that was an American project, and the structure of this meeting became a basis for the next Prague meeting, and French President Macron and Charles Michel, the President of European Union, was there as well. And there was another field meeting with the Prime Minister of Armenia, Prime Minister of Azerbaijan, President of Turkey. After the meeting in Prague, there were talks about inevitability of the peace treaty by the end of the year, as the parties came to the conclusion to conclude this agreement, to stop shooting, and after that to agree all the rest. Let's just recognize the fact of each other's existence. Yes, of course, Armenia has some territorial pretenses to Azerbaijan because the issue of Nagorno-Karabakh is the issue of those pretenses, but at the same time, there are voices from Azerbaijan that, guys, if you have this kind of claims to us, we will have claims to you. And this kind of declaration was a kind of Russian hook for Azerbaijan in Anizor, that is a small area that divides Azerbaijan from Turkey. And many people are talking about economical significance of this area, but it's not significant, but geopolitical one is huge. And the ideal situation for Moscow was that not just Armenia has these territorial claims to Azerbaijan, but Azerbaijan has territorial claims to Armenia. And That's why Moscow is there, not to let wildlings from Caucasus to kill each other. Well, and it was clear what happened after this peace treaty, and we saw this terrible interference of Russia on Valdai summit. Putin was answering the question, and he said that if Armenia wants to give Nagorno-Karabakh to Azerbaijan, you are welcome to do so. We just thought that you didn't want, that you need to talk. And after that, he collected presidents in Sochi, and after that, there were no talks about peace treaty anymore. And at the same time, there was Vardanyan project. Vardanyan is a famous Russian financist, and the money of almost all Russian elite was going through him. And I think that the main purpose of Vardanyan project was to avoid sanctions and to take care of money, and to legalize as Armenian Karabakh politicians, not the one who is servicing the interest of Russian elite, including Putin, because he dealt with them directly. But Vardanyan project, and as Volodymyr said already, there were some attempts of giving subjectivity to Karabakh through this project. It was clear in Azerbaijan, they said they are not going to let it happen. After that, there was an ecological, environmental campaign. Look, so there is a corridor, and according to this treaty, this corridor connects Karabakh, and it's under Russian control of so-called Russian peacemakers. It means that, in fact, Russians are doing whatever they want. And of course, this corridor was used for provocations against Armenia and Azerbaijan at the same time. Activists blocked this corridor. Well, that's a long story, actually, because there are some mines as well. They were extracting gold. But actually, that is the road connecting Armenia with Nagorno-Karabakh. And because of that, there were some problems with supply to Nagorno-Karabakh. After that, there were a lot of reactions on the West because Armenia started talking about the blockade of Nagorno-Karabakh. Yes, there is a blockade, it is still there, but whose blockade is that? Of Russian peacemakers or of Armenians? And what do we have at the end? By the new year, the whole process was ruined. And there was a meeting in Munich with the participation of Blinken. And 2 days ago, police car was shot by Azerbaijani on the village roads. There were villages from Nagorno-Karabakh there. In this situation, the parties do not want to go for compromise, and they won't. Armenia is going to wait for the end. Well, maybe not till the end, but till the end of some phase of the war in Ukraine, and to estimate Russian resources before taking any kind of decision. Azerbaijan also do not want to have to take any risks because they understand very well that under condition of unfavorable results for Armenia and Azerbaijan, but favorable for Ukraine. For instance, if Ukrainian armed forces will go to the borders of 1991, but fascist state of Russia still exists and they're still present at the Southern Caucasus. Well, we can discuss collapse of Russia, but that's still a theory. That's why Azerbaijan is trying to get back the control over these threats, and after that to tell about integration of Azerbaijan and Nagorno-Karabakh, and that's another complicated issue. But Armenia is waiting. Azerbaijan is waiting actively. And I think that They're the most attentive listeners to the news from Ukrainian frontline. Baku and Yerevan are watching them closely because they understand the direct connection between them. But let's come back to the Georgian dream. The formula of Georgian dream, if you don't know, that is a party of one man. We have the regime of oligarchic autocracy, and all important strategic decisions are taken just by one man. The formula was following: yes, we are joining European Union, we are joining NATO, and we can find it in our constitution, and there are no doubts about it. But at the same time, Saakashvili was bad because he tolerated war with Russia, but we are the good, and we will avoid the war with Russia, and it was possible this time, and we will do it this time. And they are highlighting that it is the only one power at which Georgia was not in war with anyone. And of course, it can be an achievement because no one likes a war. But regarding the large-scale invasion of Russia to Ukraine, well, it spoiled this idea because everyone could see the nature of Putin's regime. And there is such a Georgian proverb to read Bible next to the wolf, trying to convince him not to eat you. Well, it seems to be Georgian dream hopes we will be eaten. We won't be eaten. And this structure was broken. That's why they decided to invent the other one. Yes, Georgia was the initiator of both UN resolution on Ukraine condemning Russia. Yes, Georgia at every international platform is voting for Ukraine. Yeah, of course, Georgia joined all international sanctions, but first, at the level of rhetorics and on the practical level, Georgian government strictly refuse to have any kind of direct sanctions against Russia. That is the first. And second, on the rhetorical level, there is a kind of confrontation against the West and Ukraine in kind of, well, sorry that I wasn't that brief. I told you about it. Thank you very much. I finished.